Howdy folks, my name is Hallcifer. Before we get into this video, I wanted to say hi. I hope you're doing well today. There's a lot more of you here than I ever expected there would be. Thanks for being here. Today we will be redesigning what may be my oldest character, but first, let me tell you a story. The year is 2012. The internet is nearing the end of its golden era, but it's still a vastly enjoyable and wondrous place for my young self. Quotev and DeviantArt were my stomping grounds, and it was here I would find myself engrossed in my first real fandom. I want you to take a look at me and tell me what you think that fandom might have been. Go on, I'll give you a few seconds. It was creepypasta. I was heavily obsessed with creepypasta. And many things happened while I was in this fandom, but in this video, we're just going to be talking about one. My very first fully fleshed OC. This was Blackbird, or Draven, as I would eventually call him. He was a bird demon who hunted people through the woods, yada yada yada. Original, I know. As you may realize, 2012 was 13 years ago. Boy, do I feel old. But I think it would be safe to say that Draven has been one of the most important characters since his conception. He's been through many changes. And his story has changed so drastically that he is hardly recognizable from his initial concept I had 13 years ago. And now, as I near the point in my life in which I am deciding it is finally time to do something with it, Draven is going to change yet again, for what I hope might be his final form. It is time that I prepare Draven and the cast of his story for the series that they will eventually be in. In this video, I will be outlining the process that goes into creating an official reference sheet and basic character design, as well as telling you a bit more about Draven and his story. So sit back, relax, and feel free to draw along with me, because this is going to be a long one. One of the first and most important steps to creating a character is gathering reference material and creating a mood board. It is a cardinal sin to skip this step, which is why I'm going to tell you, do as I say and not as I do. As you can see here, while I have made 2 mood boards, they're not incredibly robust. My excuse for this is that I am quite happy with Draven's overall current aesthetic. It's mostly minor things that I will be updating for his official reference sheet. That being said, let me show you the mood boards I have made. So this first mood board is mostly for vibes, something that I could look to remind myself what aesthetic I wanted to adhere to. So here you can see definitely a lot of outfits. I was really going for some sort of 80s gothic retro aesthetic with him, and this board was mainly to just help me keep in mind the core of his appearance, especially over the years, and just give me some options so that I can look back to and just remind myself what kind of feeling I wanted his design to give. And the second one is almost entirely technical. Here you can see there are a lot of actual character sheet references that I have pulled upon to draw my inspiration for the layout of my character sheet. I have pulled a bunch from Studio Mir on their work on Legend of Korra. I'm a huge Studio Mir fan, and also a couple of Castlevania turnarounds. But other than that, it's just there's some poses here that I wanted to take inspiration from, as well as some just general reference stuff and some cool things that I thought I should include in my final mood board. And before I even started this project, I had done some ideation sketches regarding what kind of direction I wanted to take Draven and his new look. As you can see, it's not a drastic change. The biggest difference is definitely his facial marking. In earlier designs, he had black tattoos on his cheeks, which did not at all meld well together with his also black fringe. Here are some examples on how bad that looked. So I have decided to alter them instead into a single crescent-shaped scar on the left side of his face. This is because the demon that helped make Draven had some association with the moon and lunar phases, so I incorporated that into the design of the scar. I've also explored more clothing options in a desperate attempt to escape the stripes that haunted his past designs. And I would elaborate a little bit more on the outfit when it came to drawing the actual turnaround. Deja vu, I just been in this place before. And now that most of my prep work is out of the way and all of my ideation is done, it's time that I actually start working on this reference sheet. It will consist of 4 sections. One will be the turnaround, then it'll be the main character pose, then the expressions sheet, and an outfit exploration. Turnaround, for those who might not know, know, this is a special type of reference sheet, typically used by animators and comic artists to keep their characters on model. If you plan on drawing your character multiple times, be it through animation frames or comic panels, it's a very good idea to know what the character looks like from all sides. I put up guidelines across the whole sketch so that I can accurately draw his proportions across all 4 sides, and I'm a strong believer in work smarter, not harder, so you'll see a bunch of copy and pasting through this time lapse. As I get into sketching the details, I start exploring what kind of things he may be accessorizing with and why. For instance, he wears platform boots because he is a short king who suffers from little man syndrome. Draven stands at a whopping 5'4", which is also known as 162 centimeters for you non-Americans. I see you out there. He curses the world for this disrespect towards him and rebels by wearing big boots. Most of his other clothes are pretty tight-fitting, as part of his power set is being a speedster. Loose-fitting clothing could cause drag and inhibit his ability. His hair is long, luscious, and very healthy. He places a lot of care into his appearance, and his hair is his pride. The only alternate style he wears is a ponytail, and it is exclusively when he is going into a fight. He also has a tasseled red sash on his belt that he firmly believes is a good luck charm, and while it doesn't actually have any magical properties to it, it really just is there to help him keep a level head when he finds himself in a pickle. In his universe, Draven is known as a Cambion. Typically, Cambions are the offspring between a human and a demon, but Draven is a little bit of a special snowflake. He was part of an experiment aimed to create a lethal soldier. Draven is the direct fusion of an ancient demonic entity and a human psychic. His speed and ability comes from his demon side, and he has a psychic ability that comes from his witch side. In Draven's universe, psychic abilities are a very raw and uniquely mortal power that draws on one's soul. They can wreak absolute havoc on enemies, but also on the user. A large psychic outburst can lead to extreme fatigue or even physical deterioration that can sometimes take years to recover from. To mitigate his psychic power, Draven uses red ribbon bands on his forearms. These are called witch bands, and they allow the user to focus their psychic energy into manifesting physical weapons based off of the user's soul archetype. These are exclusively made for powerful psychics who intend to use their power for combat. With his witch bands, Draven can summon a sniper rifle and twin pistols. Once I get to a point where I'm happy with the sketch, I go ahead into the line art process. Since this reference is largely for myself, I tend to avoid being a perfectionist. Plus, I just really enjoy how ragged line work looks. I think it gives more energy to a piece. That's just a personal preference of mine. But now that I'm satisfied with it, I begin the flat color process. Going into this, I was pretty certain that I wanted to stick with the black and white look, with only accents being red, but quickly I've learned that it was not going to work out the exact way that I wanted it to. So I kind of hit a wall, and I sent it over to some friends in a Discord server, and we all collectively decided that it would be best to incorporate more of the darker red into his design. So this is the color scheme I settled on. It's different from how I had expected it to be, but I think it really suits him. He is a character who was made to be a soldier, so I wanted to keep a very strict monotone theme, but I think the red is actually a really nice flash of personality, and it is very on brand for the theme of his character. Moving on, I started the main pose. Usually you're supposed to have a few of these, but for this sheet I've only done one. The main poses on a reference sheet are supposed to further your understanding on how a character might hold themselves or act in a particular situation. Basically, character poses are supposed to be a collection of actions that showcase your character's personality. I went for a powerful resting pose with a bit of a lower angle. In the future, I may draw more character poses that are a little on the dynamic side, but for now, this one suffices. I also go ahead and render this out so it looks like he's standing in a scene rather than the gray void he's actually in. This is so that later on down the road I can better determine how his physical attributes might react in different light settings. Once I've finished up the main pose, next comes the expressions. It's very important to experiment with your character's expressions, as long as they stay within line of the character's personality. Ask yourself, does the character have big exaggerated expressions? This could really indicate a character who's like excitable or energetic, but if your character is more of a subdued and strict type, the exploration of subtle looks would be more suitable. In Draven's case, he wears his heart on his sleeve. He does try to hide it, but for the most part, he is an open book and you can tell when he's upset or happy. It was important to me to get a good range for him. There are some cheeky smirks to show his personality, but Draven goes through quite a lot of anguish in his story, so I felt it would be fitting to include a raw screaming sob in there. I'm particularly proud of that one. I also did some rough outfit exploration using the base of his main pose. I tested a few different colors and a few different silhouettes. I make sure to stick to my prior rule of close fit combat ready, as Draven is always expecting the unexpected. And even though they're rough, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. Some of these outfits will most definitely be featured in the comic as his casual wear, and I may even do further explorations for certain story arcs. One particularly that I'm looking forward to is the arc in which he has to join a circus, and I'm very excited to design that look when it comes to fruition. In conclusion, I'm quite impressed with my final piece. It has been a hot minute since I've sat down and made something this serious, and if you've made it this far through the video, I guess you've kind of made this journey with me. So thanks for watching, I guess. I plan to make similar videos regarding the rest of the main cast of the series, and maybe even more fun talking videos, who knows? The future is never set in stone. Please feel free to leave a comment if you liked this video, or even if you didn't like this video, please let me know what I could do to improve. My name is Hallcifer, I've been entertainment, and you, hopefully, have been entertained. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!